Now that I know that we can't level up.
Yeah, it's not happening this return. This took go around.
All right. Well, everybody, welcome to session 81 to Descent into Fernia. It's been a while. Does anybody remember anything that happened in the previous session?
I mean, I remember that I was sort of we were inside the Colossus and I was down below working out how to repair pieces of it, which opened up portals and started to spit out a fire hose of Modrons that had to be taken out. And my character missed all of that and considers himself to be the hero because he accomplished his task. No problem.
What happened to all the Modrons whenever we killed them? Are their bodies just laying there?
No, they were all sucked back up into the portal once
Yeah.
you took care of the Marut.
Yeah. So the branded one we up here just had like a shared shared hallucination of some kind.
It doesn't sound plausible that there'd be this giant portal spraying Modrons all around.
So yeah, so you guys dealt with repairing the self-repair mechanism and took care of the wild magic effects which opened up that portal. And so the mechanisms within the Warforged Colossus began to repair themselves, and you notice little creatures that are kind of like uh oval, four-legged, spider-like things kind of crawling about from coming out of hidden compartments all over the Warforged Colossus, beginning to fuse wires and it like repair metal seams that have been broken and uh, cleaning up the debris around, and they're all chittering away doing that. Um, Additionally, at the end of last session, I believe Blade had decided to step into the control council after putting the shield in the place where the docent would have gone, since it is a kind of intelligence to act as the seed consciousness. And so, as that happened, Blade rose into the air, floating upon that platform, and you see his body kind of arch, and he has a mental connection that forms with the Warforged Colossus. But after that, he doesn't seem to respond. He seems to be kind of frozen in the air, and no longer seems to have any awareness of anything that is going on around him.
Now I wonder if this is like the little four-legged creatures, the Colossus version of the DRDs that are running around.
Yeah,
Or
I was,
is that but I was just wondering, is that actually the way it works inside Blade 2? He just got smaller little spider-like creatures living inside him.
Warforged make great swarm rangers.
Right.
No, for real.
So you guys are seeing this go on around you. Um, and
So
and
are we in the head of the creature again, where the cannon was? I forget.
if you are watching Blade and near him, then you would be in the head. Um, or well, is it the head or is it the
It
this
may have
section
been
in
the
the middle.
chest piece. It was whatever piece had the cannon in it.
Um,
I just sort of pictured it being in the head. I remember running up the arm when we first got here and having to get into the hatch, which I thought was like on top of the creature, but maybe it was like in a chest piece.
no, it was on the top, and the platform for control is in the head. So if you are watching Blade as he connects with the Warforged Colossus, you would be in that space. Um, and even after a few minutes go by, he seems to continue to be unresponsive. Meanwhile, Ornifex is just stunned, looking at all of these things happening and taking. Actually, he finds a quill and some paper from the uh, the place where there was a desk in like the pelvis area of the Warforged Colossus, and he seems to be taking notes in Infernal.
I also forget, did we dig the Colossus out yet? Or were we only, we were at least
I don't think we have.
discussing how to get it out,
Yeah.
but I don't remember if we actually did it or only talked about it.
But did we hope that this thing could just pull itself out?
I mean, I'm sure that was part of the hope, that it could dig itself out enough that it could pull its legs out. That we don't have to go on a quest to find another thing, that like an excavator machine to drive back here.
Backhoe.
Pay for a team of people to come in and
Um, I think as part of the ending to last session, I did mention that the Warforged Colossus had begun pulling itself out of the dirt. However, that has not happened yet, because Blade's consciousness seems to be unaware of everything going on and he's not responsive. But you from everything you have read about the Warforged Colossus, and especially Branded One, from what you've read in the manual regarding the Warforged Colossus's functioning, you don't have any real doubt that once it is fully active, that it would be able to pull itself out from the dirt that it's currently sitting.
So Blade is inactive, and that means the Warforged Colossus is inactive. It's not just that he's like inhabiting the Warforged Colossus, so his body appears inert.
Correct.
well,
Is it plugged in? Can we turn it off and on again to see if it works?
I will attempt to establish a mind link.
Just for everybody's benefit, can you post that ability in the chat? Okay. Make me a charisma saving throw. Okay, that's sufficient. So you find yourself attempting to establish a link with Blade. And as you do, you're sensing two additional consciousness that
Mhm.
seem to be interacting in ways that are hard for you to discern. And the toll of sensing these things and trying to gain access to them creates significant strain on your consciousness. Uh, had you, but because of your force of will, you're able to prevent it from having any kind of shock or feedback into your own mind. But you do sense that if you maintain the link for much longer, that is going to become more and more difficult. And because there is so much going on inside the Blade's mind right now, it is really hard to get any concrete information Although one thing that you do notice, I will send you in a message.
I was gonna say, can I maybe insight some, you know, who these others might be as far as who they give, what sense they give.
Yeah, and I'll send in a message as well. Okay. It would have been fun had you failed that save and I got to maim you in the first 5 seconds.
I just assumed you were gonna kill him.
Did you get the message?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I forgot I had muted myself. So whenever you say that it's too difficult to maintain, is that like a reflexive thing, like I subconscious effect of I just break the link?
Um, if you want to interpret it that way, you could, or it could be that if it's kind of like putting your hand into a fire. You can certainly keep
Yeah,
it
yeah.
there, but doing so is going to cause blisters and burns.
Mhm. All right. Yeah, so I'll break the link. I just said to the others, well, he has company in his mind at the moment. I cannot discern very much more, except for perhaps a horned creature. Just a vague sense of a horned creature, that's all I got. The shield, does it have like a horned creature on it?
Well, yeah, no.
It
No?
used
Okay.
to, but it doesn't anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember if the shield like physically changed too.
Yeah, it did.
All right.
Like, it's definitely gonna be too.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I got for now.
All right. So Blade is in this state of temporary, hopefully temporary, suspended animation, while these small mechanical creatures are continuing to mend the various mechanisms and uh, pieces of debris. Um, so what are the rest of you doing?
Trying to figure out why I have Sleet Storm memorized. That's what I'm doing.
How many others know of this thing, of this device?
I'm sure many know of it. It's obvious in the landscape.
I suppose.
Probably no one knows how to activate it.
Perhaps we should have a look outside to make sure it's not glowing or something to draw attention to us.
I snap my fingers for Trebek to go fly around because he can do it more quickly than the rest of us without climbing out.
So Trebek does
It's like,
so.
did you just snap at me?
While the branded one and Trebek had that brief traveling together, uh, they developed a sort of hierarchy, I suppose. Um, so it takes a few minutes. Trebek does so, and he says, there seem to be some glowing around some of the joints. It seems like it's kind of a flashing arc of energy. It's not a sustained glow, though. It may be related to whatever these things are doing around the Colossus, but um, I don't see anything that would necessarily bring any kind of significant attention just from the outside.
So did you get a sense of when Blade is going to be back with us and not with his horny friend?
No, I could discern very little. They were rejecting me very quickly.
Is he in
Much
some sort of
a lot of
danger?
turmoil. Cannot tell. Perhaps the mind of a warforged is just different that way, especially when it's melding with a larger warforged, with other minds involved with that warforged.
So do I get a sense, having read the manual, whether or not this is normal?
Um, so give me you could do Arcana or History with advantage.
We'll do Arcana then.
Okay. So there's nothing directly in the manual that would suggest some sort of situation like what you're seeing. But you gather from other areas and from context, you would deduce that because of the period of an activity and the extent of the damage done to the Warforge, the process of um, activating it with the pilot may be extended to some degree, and also more more taxing for the individual that is in the pilot seat.
So I assume, just based on Eberron technology, that there's probably, and the electricity everywhere, that there's probably some elemental force that's helping to power this thing. Do I have any guesses as to what the horned creature might be?
Uh, I mean, plenty of guesses that you could have, but in terms of, anything that you might deduce that your
Yeah,
character would be
based
aware of
on the
that
sort
you're
of
not, um, nothing that you can think of. You do, I would say with your check that you just had, it would be enough to um, have some passing sense of or some passing knowledge in terms of elemental binding, which are the typical engines for things such as the Warforged Colossus, as well as the Lightning Rail and other massive projects created by House Cannith. But as part of that, those elementals are typically creatures of raw force and power, and not necessarily anything that would be shaped such that it would leave any kind of shadow that's not some kind of amorphous blob.
Well, we could always activate the anti-magic ring and try to pull him out. But I don't know if that's gonna help or hinder us.
Oh,
Mm.
didn't that explode?
Did the ring explode?
Yeah,
Yeah, it did.
it was about to
Something with the
explode on your finger, but you had enough
yeah. Didn't you throw it at
awareness of it
someone?
that you threw it.
Yeah, I think you threw it and it hurt someone. Not badly, but
I forgot about that completely.
I want to say it was
I just,
Takash.
I
But
just, yeah, I just imagine handing it to Trebek and running.
I think Trebek would know better than to just take something that you hand to him. Or at least he should by now.
while we're all discussing, I'm going to be since Melodia is definitely out of her element here. I'm going to be sort of lightly patrolling the areas of where we've been, mainly around the entrance area where he came in. Just keeping an eye out, making sure ears, eyes, just making sure no one's coming in, type stuff.
Like coming in from the outside
Yes,
or coming.
outside.
Okay, so you're going outside and kind of.
Well, I mean, not really. Like where was the hatch? Wasn't it like on the shoulder or arm or something?
The hatch is in the head.
Oh, the head. Okay.
But it's also there is a stair system leading up that you were able to traverse. It still has those alarms that were originally encountered
Okay.
that would ring, but they're easily disabled. And since there's less concern about that alerting anything inside the Colossus, it's not
What
necessarily an issue if you were to do that.
what are the like eyes of this? Like, can I look out? Like, are they just like windows or what?
Yeah, they seem to be made of some kind of clear crystal, not glass. It seems to be more resilient than just pure glass.
I'll probably stay inside then, just primarily looking out though, seeing, just keeping an eye out essentially, for
Well,
anything.
the issue with those windows that uh create the eyes is that they're locked in place where the head is. There's
Yeah.
not any way to monitor anywhere in any other direction around the Warforged Colossus.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll keep my. I mean, not fully exposed, but like every, I don't know, couple minutes, just poke my head out above, just take a quick 360, come back in. Just
I mean, you could do that, but you could also, this thing is large enough that you could just go outside and kind of perch yourself on top of the head, and it you're able to be low enough to the ground that you could kind of see in all directions without necessarily being very noticeable from your perch.
okay. Yeah, if I can get like some cover or at least easily like duck back down if I see something, then I'll do that.
Yeah, that's
Just
certainly
while
possible.
this is booting up.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Now,
Yeah, it's running through its startup processes right now. It's got to
Yeah.
like defrag.
Yeah. It's on the blue screen right now.
Takash, With Melodia going up top, would you want to establish this telepathic link with her?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that it does work that way, right? Yeah, within an hour. Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah, since it stays for an hour, I'll definitely do that so we can keep informed on the inside.
You can remove the time limit from that. As long as you can see the creature, you can establish a link, and then maintain it for as long as you want.
Sure.
I head up and I'm like, this is weird. Do I have to like put my hand on my ear, or do I just think it's, or how does this work? This is, you hear me actually like just talking outside to you, and it's very odd, and I'm very weird at this. I'm just sort of talking to no one.
Do you get a
Yeah,
feedback echo if he's talking and thinking?
Yeah, it's like sort of that you're talking with that 5-second delay, and I'm constantly stuttering. I'm just like,
and I just tell Melodia, you do whatever you wish to do to communicate with me. That's it.
Have a long shower, kid.
If you wish to hold your finger to your temple, then do so. It will help.
Got it. Okay, I'll let you know if I see anything.
Delightful.
Well, if Melodia gets a song stuck in her head, do you like have to hear it?
Only if Melodia thinks it at me. It is not pure telepathic invasion.
It's constant stream of consciousness.
You have to actually think at the person. I don't know. Yeah, unless you're thinking your whole thoughts at a person, that seems weird.
Yeah.
I'd break the link.
So, Ornifex, he comes and finds everybody and says, I found some a contraption that seems to be creating food and water.
Where is that?
He shows you. It's the room where you previously had feared electrocution. The one of those contraptions seems to have an opening where it is, if you look into it, it's not necessarily creating new food. What it's doing is the magic seems to be restoring previously rotten food to a more, fresh, purified state. It is creating water though.
It's good that it can keep it fresh.
This magic is amazing. We should all have this magic.
But whatever we eat, we can't necessarily replace.
I understand. But to unrotten food. There are many rich people who waste lots. We could repurpose some of that.
So how many days worth of food would I estimate that we have?
10 days.
Well, that's good. If we haven't solved everything by then, it's too late.
That's true.
So Ornifex, are you going to continue to travel with us? Or are you going to get in your vehicle and leave?
Oh, if you would allow me to stay, I would love to see the way that this thing functions. It will greatly help my own research and my tinkering.
I
This
don't
thing
have a
has
problem
already
with
given
that.
me so many ideas that I could incorporate into the machine that I've created.
Suppose the machine could pick up your vehicle. I don't know what your vehicle weighs or what the capabilities of this machine is. But I don't think there's a garage, so I think we'd have to carry it.
Hmm. That is, I'm hopeful that this thing can carry machine, but and that it will be a hard choice to make whether I try if it cannot, if I continue to travel with you to study this thing, or decide to stay with the creation I've spent so many years working on.
I mean, physically, it seems like we should be able to pick it up, but I don't know whether or not your machine has any greater than obvious weight to it that might prevent us from carrying it.
No, the extra dimensional space doesn't add any weight to it, so it is no heavier than what it would appear to be. Meanwhile, Lux, your little bird friend, kind of comes around your leg and starts nudging you.
Okay.
Lux
just
opens
ignores
up one
it.
of those little portholes, drops the bird down, closes the little porthole.
All right. We got two people who stepped away, so we'll just wait.
So at the moment, my character doesn't know what to do other than wait to see if this blade situation resolves, and if it doesn't resolve soon, yank Blade out of that driver's seat.
Um, Melodia, give me a perception check. Okay. Um, Off in the distance, you do see what appear to be several infernal war machines. They're moving in your general direction, but you can't be sure from the distance and the trajectory whether or not they're actually moving towards you or just near you, but you do notice that.
Okay, so I'm just maybe catching like the smoke, or not smoke, but like the dust trail behind them. Okay.
Yeah.
Um well well, I'm gonna tell Takash, which I'm gonna assume that he relays to you guys, that I see a smoke trail that I'll keep you guys informed on. We will see what's happening, but maybe I don't know, plug an extension cord into him, speed it up a little bit. I'll keep a more direct eye on them. I'll still obviously keep on pivoting, or not pivoting, but looking around, but more focusing directly on them if I can
Mhm.
with my elven or half elven eyes.
And then also give me a nature check. So you also notice in the distance behind Warforged, or not the Warforged, behind these vehicles, there seems to be a dark cloud on the horizon as well.
Like a storm or like clouds, or can't make it out.
Like a storm, yeah,
Okay.
but immensely dark, darker than any clouds that you've ever seen.
Okay, and is this like I'm sort of envisioning almost like a submarine hatch, like a close it, you know, sort of, okay.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually just gonna fully close it and come back down and actually just talk to everyone, and just tell everyone exactly what I see. That I'm. Can I make out exact or roughly how many? Does it seem 2, 3, 4, 10?
Yeah, you're given your perception check, you would be able to tell that there were probably 7 vehicles.
Okay. I work my way down until I find everyone. I say, tell everyone, I I think I see several war war wagons coming with a maybe fleeing a dark storm approaching or bringing a dark storm with them. I don't know, but we're definitely on a shot clock now. On a tighter shot clock than we were before.
I'm sorry,
We've
but
had-
Melodia, where does Melodia get shot clock? It's her vernacular.
I have no idea.
When she was in the tournament,
Yeah,
and she
I-
was using a
I-
bow, and they were using the thing, and she had to
Yeah.
shoot something, a target within a certain amount of time.
In high school, she
Yep.
was on the basketball team. That's my backstory. I didn't tell you that.
Hey, one of my prior character had a proficiency in the ping pong game set, so never came up, but
So yeah, we might have something to deal with sooner than later.
we've
Okay.
had bad luck with storms in
Yeah.
this particular game.
Yes.
They're all like acid rain that is actual acid or
Yeah.
the
Um,
freezing. I'm assuming this is just Feanor's freezing rain again, the one that trapped us in our infernal machine and we couldn't go outside and we couldn't move.
So I lock the hatch. I'm gonna work my way back up and keep an eye on them, but be forewarned, we might have to defend this place or do something. So get ready. And
We have
I
two choices. We can either right now we don't have access to the weapons on this machine. So we can either try to defend it from in here, in which case we're going to be stopping them from trying to enter this place, or someone could go and get an Ornifex's machine and actively try to attack them. But then it's 7 plus a storm against 1.
I said we home alone trap this place. Marbles
Home
and tar
Alone.
cans. Yeah. Paint cans. While you guys are discussing, I still have the mine link, so I'm gonna head back up and just open the hatch and keep on looking at it, looking at them until they get closer.
Yeah, like how big is this fucking storm?
The massive black cloud with 7-ish war, what are they called? War,
Infernal war machines.
thank you, infernal war machines leading it, whether they're running from it or bringing it towards us, I don't know. Too far out.
Sure. I can't imagine who would be coming towards us.
Remember, Feanor nuked your friend.
What's nuked?
Blew up. It's a sorcerer term.
Hmm. Those wily sorcerers. I- yeah, I don't know what we got. I'm pretty spent as far as many of my spells. Options? Any other options?
Seems they're still somewhat distant. You could, if it would be helpful, we could short rest.
Maybe.
One of our 2 for the day.
Indeed. Might as well. I mean, Yeah.
I mean, I don't particularly need it, but if it helps other people, that's fine.
See if I get anything from it.
I forgot, what do we get from a short rest?
You can spend hit dice and some abilities recharge on a short rest.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can use a little health, but besides that,
Right, I mean, you could actually spend hit dice even without a
Yeah.
short rest because I can cast close wounds, which allows you to just spend them outside of a short rest. But it was mostly because some people get abilities back.
yeah.
It doesn't seem like we have 8 hours. It's a long rest.
Yeah, I don't think I can see 8 hours away.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything that goes away on a short rest that I've used. So we could just use the closed wounds as necessary.
Yeah, I can cast that as many times as you guys would need. I probably will actually, because Trebek is injured and doesn't have hit dice to spend, I probably would cast Cure Wounds on him.
Another thing to consider is I'm pretty sure that it's pretty close to the end of the day as it is. I mean, once again, it's hard to know because there is no real day-night cycle, but you know that you got to the Warforged Colossus fairly late in the day, and so you are feeling the fatigue of the long day as well.
So I have 3 more uses of this that Trebek doesn't need. Who needs healing?
I'm down 10 hit points, which a closed wound will probably get me.
Melodia is down 31 and Pantone is down 66, but I can always resummon Pantone if I need to.
So I guess do Melodia. That's 10, 16, 24. You get back.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Um, so about an hour passes. Melodia, in that time, you're able to get a better sense of the direction of these Warforged, or these infernal machines. You don't get the sense that they're moving directly towards you, but the storm is getting much larger, and it is definitely you're in the path of the storm. Additionally, give me another perception check, this time at disadvantage. Okay. Send you a message. All right, send.
This is the last time I keep my head out. Every time I'm on watch, you always screw me over. I immediately close the hatch and I lock it. And I'm sorry, I wasn't listening before. Where's the food? Is everyone in that food reclamation area? Is that like further down or?
So where Melodia was imprisoned, it's on the other side.
Okay, got it. Okay. So as I'm locking, I am communicating with Takash. I'm like, we have big issues. Get everyone ready. Big flying hulking issues, or I'm insane. I don't know, but something's wrong up here. So get ready. And I'm like sprinting down like the ladder and come tumbling down very unelegantly. So as I meet everyone, I say, I I think those they're fleeing the storm. They're not coming after us, but there's something in the storm. I think I saw wings and something hulking in there. Like it's not thunder, but something's in there. So I think it's bigger than us in this thing. So I'm hiding in here now. So good luck. I don't know what to do. I have like wild eyes, and just
It's not Wilfred, I assume.
I don't think Wilfred had wings, did he?
No.
No, yeah. Unfortunately.
What about so the outside of the colossal Warforged it shows some sign of activity?
They they said there was like spark Trebek said there's like sparks or something at the joints, but
Mhm.
not like really like beacons of light, I think.
Right.
Um
Kind of think arc welds as like metal is repaired.
yeah, okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Even though I know the risk, I suppose, but I'm gonna go to Blade. And project. I just want to project the thought into his mind. Stop for a little bit. Pause the repairs.
Give me a charisma saving throw. Okay. So with your check, which is a very significant success, you're sure that you're able to transmit the thought past all of the static and the confusion of the intercrossing of these minds. Um, and you think that it's really difficult because it's like trying to hear over a waterfall. But you get a thought in return in response, uh, and it just says, "I can't, no control."
Okay.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Well, I'll just let everybody know. Well, I attempt to stop the repairs and make us not stand out so much, but apparently he is not in control yet. Hopefully
much of
that's
this thing
nothing
is-
to be concerned about.
Also, Takash, given how high your check is, um, to be honest, while that you do get that thought in response, from the quality of the thought and kind of other factors, you get the sense that the thought got through to Blade's subconscious mind, not his conscious awareness. So he is focusing on something else going on, but he is also aware enough and some level that there's something happening that he's not able to stop.
Okay.
So you also, that gives you kind of a sense that at least Blade's mind as a Warforged is much more complex than you would have expected.
Okay. Okay. So whatever it is, it's reflexive at the moment. He can't stop it. Fine. Yeah, well, you are right. We may need to defend ourselves, perhaps.
How much of this is about, how much of the Warforge is exposed?
Yeah, Ophelia?
So the legs are completely buried. One of the
Okay.
arms is buried up into the elbow joint, and probably a good chunk of the chest and up into the back on one side. I miss my little tablet that I could have drawn exactly what it looks like, but it's not hooked up right now, because I don't have space.
And
You have a new house.
what-
You have all the space in the world.
So
Yeah,
what
but
point
not
will
on
the
this
storm
stupid
get here?
desk.
Can we estimate that?
Based on Melodia's nature check, you probably have about 2 hours.
My concern now is not so much defending this from being boarded by enemies, but destroyed by giant winged creatures in the clouds.
Yes, indeed. Especially while our friend is attached to it.
Just wondering if we can get those, whatever those fleeing infernal machines are, if we can get them away, far enough away from the Warforged Colossus that the winged creatures would follow them, and we would just get the wake of the creatures going by as opposed to the creatures rolling right over us.
Yeah, to be able to deflect them would be most useful. The question is, how do we do so? I suppose that is by looking more scary, but can we do that?
I'm gonna try to I'm gonna go up to the branded one and say, like, hey, come up with me. I think you might be able to help identify what this is. So I think you know magic creatures more than I do. Because I think this thing might be something you may be more aware of than I am. So
I will go up to the roof, though I am often half blind. So
I kind of want to look too, honestly. So
but let's all go have a look.
I gotta know what I might be fighting.
So you all go up to the, well, maybe not all, but those of you wanting to go are able to get up onto the hatch and onto the top of the head, which once again is massive, and you all have plenty of room to stand. And you see the massive pyroclastic cloud for you, realizing from the as the distance closes and more detail becomes apparent, the darkness of the clouds is the ash. There's sparks of lightning flashing throughout the clouds, and you can see the the wobbling of the air before it as the intense heat pours off of it, causing the distortion in the air. At that point, you hear a sound that is incredibly deep and powerful, but not quite thunder. Um, and as as Melodia points it out, you can see what looks like the rise and fall of some sort of object or something from above the pyroclastic cloud, which is closer to the ground than what you would expect for a storm, but still quite high in the air. Just given the distance, you seem to have a vantage point that allows you to at least see this, whatever it is, kind of rise and then fall at steady intervals. Lux, I'm sending you a message.
I thought it was just a bonus action to lock the hatch when they went outside to look.
Oh, did you did you want to stay out, stay inside?
No,
I
that's
guess
fine.
I
Go ahead.
assumed if you were
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Send me the message.
okay.
Does it look like one of the other like storms that are out here? I know. I don't know if I have, but my character, I should say, has. But I recall there being storms that we had to avoid before that didn't seem to pertain to Feanor at all. Just pyroclastic storms or whatever.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't remember if it was this character or Solomon, but I remember at one point something attacked Wilfred and Wilfred had to fight it, and Wilfred defeated it pretty handily. But I thought
Was that
that was also accompanied by a storm.
that was a dragon of some kind?
Right. Only Lux was there for everything.
Might be the case, actually.
Lux is actually the main protagonist of this whole campaign, and she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, you got the wrong person. That's the problem.
Not for lack of trying.
Yeah, I will tell everybody we may have seen this already when we were on top of Wilfred. There's some sort of dragon-like creature that glows deep red and has lava flowing in the veins along its flesh.
So you're saying we cannot negotiate?
I don't think we'd be negotiating.
So deflection it is, huh?
They're still 2 hours away. I don't know what we could do that could affect them that far out. And once they get close, the storm seems so large that deflection might be pointless.
Indeed. Well, the storm presumably could be avoided.
We could move the Colossus, maybe.
We could get in
We-
Ornifax's vehicle and try to avoid it and then just come back and hope that the Colossus is still here. I just
I
don't see
don't
how it's
know.
gonna get out in 2 hours.
I don't necessarily know how safe it is to remove Blade from the mechanism at this point, or if he would want
Oh, we'll
that.
have to leave him inside and see how he does. He's got plot armor right now, so we're good.
He can't die because he's not here.
Correct.
So you didn't show up, but you need to roll a new character.
Yeah,
But we did level up, so.
yeah. Dustin, good news and bad news.
Yeah,
Good news and better news.
I to drive away is likely not a good idea. It would be just as safe, likely, to just stay inside here.
I mean, the extra dimensional space is probably pretty safe.
Not if it's crushed.
I was assuming we would drive, in the opposite direction of the one that all of these vehicles are going in. Might be able to even clear the storm.
Well, if we just drive in the opposite direction, they'll just keep coming towards us, won't they?
I'm saying, like, if they're veering off this way, we go directly this way.
Got it. Yes.
I will say, Ornifex chimes in, and you notice that he's kind of come out of nowhere from behind you silently. If
He's fine.
if
Punch
We
him in the
are-
face.
it's like that episode of Community where Annie punches.
Did you guys ever watch Tacoma FD?
Yes, love that show.
Yes. Oh yeah, where the Halloween special where he can't go into the
Yeah.
yes, where he keeps on punching everyone. Yeah.
Granny.
Yeah, Granny. Yes, thank you.
So rubbing his face, he goes, as I was saying,
Did,
if we're
did we learn something?
if we're in my Warforge, my infernal war machine, and it was destroyed while we are in the extra dimensional space, we are unlikely to survive. But I mean, this Colossus, the armor on it seems so thick. Was it made here in Fernia?
No, I assume it was made in Eberron. How it got here, I don't know.
All of the infernal war machines here are built to survive the intense flames that this place can produce. I would be surprised, given how thick the armor is of this thing, that it couldn't survive that storm.
Massively, I think that might be true. But I don't know if that thing flying above the storm is going to physically notice that this thing is coming alive again and attack it. We'll see, I guess. It seems like our best option is to hunker down here. This would be a good time to go to the Wandering Emporium in our new vehicle, though.
It could jump. Wilford jump? I don't think so.
Despite my confidence that my war machine can take the heat, I am going to move it to try and give it some cover from the storm using this Colossus.
And
That seems
Ornifex
wise.
makes his way slowly down the steps.
Does that mean Ornifex can't fly? I just assumed he had some sort of ability to fly.
It appears that he does not. Either that or he's not wanting to use it.
He hits like every alarm on the way down. Check my spells and see if there's anything useful.
I was going to spend some of Pantone's hit dice to heal him, so I'm just gonna roll on that for a bit.
Okay.
Nope, nothing leaps out at me as immediately useful. I can make it worse. Do we want it to be worse? Get to cast daylight to like light us up like a beacon.
Um, so if I don't know what I can tell about what's going on here and with Blade in this machine. Would do I think that if I cast a buff spell on Blade, that it would also affect the Warforged Colossus?
I mean, there's no reason that Takash might either assume so or assume against it.
Sure.
Because I mean, the only one that has any sense of how this thing works is the branded one.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably ask him.
I would
What he
ask the
thinks.
DM.
Yeah, I know.
So branded one, if that's a question that you're trying to answer, you can give me a history or arcana check.
Don't
You
we
got
have
the
the
manual.
manual to this thing?
You got the
Yeah,
manual.
I do have the manual.
And you have advantage on that. Either way, you succeeded. So your sense of it, once again, this is one of those questions that's not directly answered by the manual, but you get a good enough sense of some of the mechanics around the Warforged Colossus's functioning that it does seem to have some built-in enhancement for magic. But it is something that is highly limited and also risky. The higher levels spell that is being magnified to affect the entirety of the Colossus will have a cumulative possibility for overloading the magical battery or engine of the Colossus, which could then trigger it to explode. And if that explodes, these are tower-sized dragon shards powering the Warforged Colossus in each leg. They can explode with the force to destroy a small city.
Okay, got it.
Think we figured out how
Well-
we're gonna beat Belshalor.
Yeah, we got it, man. We'll end his career right now. That's a last stand. I'm like, we got no other choice. Fucking dump all your magic in there.
Yeah, that's right. Bye, Jayla Duran.
If she's any good, she'll be reborn. So whenever the things wait, shit, do I have it prepared? Fuck, I thought I did. Yeah, because if we can give forms of protection, I have like Shield of Faith, for instance. Maybe it will help the device, this Colossus, withstand any assaults it might incur. I wish I had protection from evil and good prepared. Seems like it would be pretty handy.
I was really close to prepare. It's like taking that and preparing it.
Yeah, well, I haven't had a chance to rest to prepare it yet, so that's the problem.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, not that I can cast it right now.
Yeah, I don't have that or protection from energy prepared.
I do have protection of. I mean, so if I might be wrong, can't you use an action point to replenish your spell slots?
So you can use an action point to cast a spell up to 5th level.
Yeah, I'm not. I only have max of 3rd level, so. So yeah, worst case, I do have protection from energy. I would have to use an action point for it, but that's worst case. So, but I feel someone else would probably be a lot better spellcaster than me to do that. So,
Is the branded one the only one that can read the manual? Or is that what we established or no?
No, anyone can read the manual. It's just long. I'm the only one who did.
Well, I'll go right in the back because that's usually where the troubleshooting is. If there's shit going wrong.
So we need Peter's character to start reading books in this game. Once again, all of the characters just have this weird crossover.
I'm looking for the troubleshooting. You find yourself stuck. You can't move in sand. What do you need to do?
We need the how.
Is there
where's the
a
how-to section?
help hotline I can meditate on and reach? Is there like,
You read the troubleshooting section and find our pilot is stuck, frozen, and not responsive. And it's like, is your pilot a Warforged? Never allow a Warforged to be your pilot.
Exactly.
Oh, well, there's where we went wrong. Step fucking 1.
Yeah.
But I will lend the book to Lux. That's fine.
So Lux, is there anything in particular that you're trying to look in the manual?
Yeah, I'm trying to do a quick once over to see what kind of powers this thing has, or there's you know, any way to like override the system, or I'm trying to figure out if I can get this thing like to fly, like to just shoot out like some sort of, you know,
Like Iron Man.
some shit like that, or I mean, Misty Step,
Yeah, yeah.
Wind
So,
Walk.
so, you get a sense, well, first of all, give me a history or arcana check. And since you're using the book, you can add proficiency if you're not normally proficient.
History, no. Arcana, no. Oh, okay, I'm just with history. History. Okay, yeah. With my proficiency. 7. This makes no
Um,
sense.
yeah, it's like stereo instructions. And what the fuck is a stereo?
Exactly. Sure, this is in a language that somebody can read.
You're looking at the Chinese instructions. You flip it over.
This is the reveal in the campaign where we find out Lux never learned to read.
Right.
Lux is Charlie. What's that? We think a pirate lives in there? It's private. Yeah, I mean, I'll just wait until it seems like it might be 10 minutes out, and then I will do, or a little less than 10 minutes out, I suppose, and do a shield of faith and hope that it works out.
Okay. Is there anything people are doing in the meantime? Or do we want to just fast forward to 10 minutes before?
I'm gonna go back up and just keep an eye on it, just see if I can. I was not. I mean, both I nor Melodia were here for this previous battle, so I'm just gonna keep honestly just watch it out of curiosity. I've never seen something like this, and see if I can deduce any kind of information from it, anything that might help me in anything.
Are there
Yeah.
peepholes, ways to
What-
look out?
Yeah.
What you see actually terrifies you a bit more because now you're as it gets closer, you're noticing that massive flaming boulders seem to be flung from the clouds. And there are many instances of just molten rock raining down from beneath this cloud.
Any sight of Ornifex, or is he long gone?
Uh, he seems to have placed the vehicle like up against the mound of earth and dust that has pinned the Colossus in place. Um, and also, so I want to change a little bit of what you saw because it's what the pyroclastic cloud is actually a wall that goes from the ground to the sky. So what you're seeing is the like bits that are being flung ahead of the pyroclastic cloud.
Okay.
The molten lava and flaming boulders.
Okay. So
And you can't tell if it's like being kicked up from the storm like, and superheating the ground in ways that causes it to explode in front of the pyroclastic cloud, or if maybe it's being uh, thrown specifically by the creature or some other manner of shedding, but that's what you see.
Okay. I come back downstairs. I'm like, it's so much worse than I thought it would be.
So, so how dangerous do I think it would be? I know that Takashi is going to cast Shield of Faith. How dangerous do I think it would be for me to spend an action point to prepare protection from energy and then cast protection from energy on top of the Shield of Faith?
Man, I got it.
What
I'm
level
calling.
is protection from energy? Is it that's a third level
Third
spell?
level. Yeah.
Shield phase is first, obviously.
I mean, you know, if you were casting one of those spells, the machinery could probably handle it. Casting both of those spells, I mean, from everything that you've intuited from the way that this thing functions and its potential limits, you can't say for certain, but it's probably a 50-50 chance of exploding.
Just right away?
I mean,
Or is there like a build-up
you don't
process?
know
Can you
specifics.
let go?
I mean, you don't know specifics. I mean, it could be that the thing functions in a way that allows it to accommodate that kind of spell work, because what the branded one has intuited because of the strength of his previous Arcana checks is that the engine of this thing can enhance and magnify spell work. But it does so in a way that creates a significant strain on the system, as the Kyber dragon shards that are the foundational structure of the spell engine all contain elementals of incredibly massive energy. And so enhancing magic, which requires very fine manipulation of those energies, creates structural strain in the physical mechanisms that contain these elemental forces. And so it is one of those things where it's kind of like overclocking a CPU. At some point, it's going to melt.
So we just keep it cool at the same time. That's why you prepared that ice,
Right.
whatever.
So I'm calling it here. I think Hawk is having, at least me and him, relive the tornadoes we went through last time we were supposed to play. That's what's going to happen here. Is we're just going to have to batten the hatches and deal with tornadoes.
There's a 50-50 chance, but I feel like the Silver Flame will protect me because I'm so fundamentally important.
Absolutely.
Plus, what an epic way to end the campaign, to die in the firestorm on a 50-50 roll.
We'll keep an eye on it. We could always stop and reapply. Let it cool off. Again, if we could keep it cool.
I can have AC Pantone come back.
I suppose Takash is making sense that we could always reapply if the heat turns out to be a problem.
Yeah. I think we're all just sort of waiting for the inevitable at this point.
Yeah, like I said, were there actual like places to look out in some way?
Yeah, I'm not
Besides the
gonna,
hatch.
with like the flying flaming boulders, I think I'm gonna go like into the chest area rather
Yeah.
than in the head.
Yeah, it sounds like the eyes you can look out, but they're fixed, so you can only look in one direction. And besides that, that seems to be about it.
Yeah,
I'm
and the way
I'm a
that I
Midwesterner. I go outside and look. Okay.
that's true.
Yeah.
I
Everyone
will
get inside and take cover. I'm gonna go outside and videotape this.
I'll keep a lookout. Yeah.
I'm
I'll let you know
realizing
if it's
that I
here.
have this oriented in my head one way, and I may not have communicated it, but the eyes are facing in the opposite direction that the storm is coming. So
Okay.
the storm is kind of coming from the back of the head. Um,
Okay.
and there are vantage points within where you could potentially see
And look at
outside.
his ears. Like,
Um, was that something in Spaceballs? They were looking out the ear.
oh, they went into the ear.
Oh yeah. Um, so you can see out the eyes, and then also the port where the main cannon is in the chest. All of those are in the direction though that is not very helpful.
The cannon is an arcane cannon, presumably. Not one we have to load.
It doesn't appear that there's any mechanisms requiring loading.
If one of these gets damaged, what are our chances of it exploding and killing us inside?
Hi. There's a reason there's only like 7 these ever made, and all of them not having survived the last war.
We'll be fine. Calm down.
That's what the protection will be for.
All right. So you get to be 10 minutes before you are actually despite the shielding offered by the massive metal hide, you are starting to feel the temperature rise within the Colossus.
How long does protection from energy last?
An hour, up to an hour.
It might be worth doing that one now. I'm gonna give it like 5 minutes and then cast the Shield of Faith. Or I might even just try and wait till the last minute. That way we're not overloading it right away. And my spell only lasts for 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, my spell lasts for an hour, but I have to spend an action point to get it in the first place.
Sure, yeah, that's true. That's fair.
But I guess we could try that. I will spend the action point. I will give up Sleet Storm to instead prepare protection from energy, and then I will cast it on Blade
Okay.
to protect it from heat, from fire damage.
So as you cast the spell on Blade, first of all, what does it look like normally when you cast the spell?
I mean, the way I would envision it, I have to lay a hand on Blade, and then you would just see the silver flames burst out on my hand and then begin to cover him quickly, leaving him with a silvery sheen around him.
Okay. And as that happens, the
There's-
the the magic begins to coalesce in his shoulders, and tendrils of magic that were previously invisible are now highlighted by the energies as they run up his shoulders into these tendrils and spread throughout the platform on the bottom and the platform above, um, with releasing this massive glow. If any of you were in the chest area looking out through the porthole where the cannon is, or in the head where the eyes are, you would notice that there is a sudden magic radiance as multiple massive glyphs emerge, tracing over the top of the Warforged Colossus, creating a kind of magical barrier that glows with the silver of the silver flame. Um, You also hear the whine as the magic begins to fill and be magnified by the massive kyber dragon shards in the legs. And from there, uh, is this normally a concentration spell?
It is a concentration spell.
You notice that the magic completely leaves your mind such that you no longer are concentrating on the spell, but it still remains active upon the Warforged Colossus. So it seems that the mechanisms of the Warforged Colossus have taken up the management of maintaining the spell energies. Also, roll me a percentile. Okay.
Explode.
So you do hear this whine of energy, which is not quite deafening, but you feel it in your body as it seems like the entirety of the Warforged Colossus has become like a kind of diving bell that resonates at the frequency of the magic that was being cast, and as a result, you feel the enhanced frequencies resonate through you as well. And then with that, the by your anyone that's looking through the eyes or through the porthole in the chest notices that darkness covers the Warforged Colossus, and you hear the the pounding of molten rock and boulders bouncing from the metal hide of the Warforged Colossus. The temperature is no longer rising within the 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 cabin of the Warforged Colossus, but you do hear the violent noises from the um, percussion and as well as the cries of the creature at the center of the storm that just are absolutely deafening even from within the protection of the thick armor hide of the Warforged Colossus. Um, After a few moments, you do everybody feels a massive uh, uh, it's like an earthquake. And so everybody give me a, strength saving throw.
Well, if you're within 15 feet
I
of
would
me, you
say
get
everybody
+4.
can benefit from your aura.
Shall I confirm this?
Yeah, why not?
Shall I
So-
reconfirm this?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh man.
You almost killed it.
So, Takash, you're given the powers of your psychic abilities. There's something that you notice in the mental ether that allows you to have some sense of the creature that has emanated this storm into existence. And you can sort of sense that it was intending to land on the Warforged Colossus as a perch, which gave you the capacity to instinctively cast your shield of faith upon Blade, uh, protecting the Warforged Colossus from the impact and preventing it from resonating throughout the cabin, potentially throwing everybody about the metal structure and potentially injuring everybody. However, the additional spell work that you have put into the Warforged Colossus creates an even greater whine as the energies coalesce and are enhanced by the Kyber Dragon shards. And so give me a percentile check. Okay. You hear a roar and you see several of the DRDs fizzle out as the energy seems as if it's just about to be uncontained. Several of the systems begin to spark. Some of the wires that were just repaired begin to glow red hot and then turn white hot as the energies are just completely overwhelming the structure of the Warforged Colossus and the magical engine that's enhancing the effects. However, they do hold steady and don't seem to explode.
Got it. We flew real close to a star. We just managed to. Back to the strength saving throw.
So your double crit success canceled everybody else's need out. Everybody's need to make the save.
Oh, delightful. I was zen and I was like completely zoned. Just trying to get any sense of anything going on outside since we can't see very well. But yeah, so I guess it's super hot, but it's not dying as far as we can tell.
Roasters.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it
so
hasn't exploded, I guess.
the magic of the protection from energy is still in effect. And now the shield of faith is also layered on top of that. So there are additional arcane sigils floating a meter or so above the metal hide of the Warforged Colossus. But Takashi, you do notice, much like the branded one, that once you cast the magic into Blade, it completely flowed out of you, and the machine is now maintaining concentration of the spell.
Right. Okay. But as long as we're not exploding, we're good. That being said,
sure.
I think something landed on us, or at least tried to. There's like big claws dangling in front of the eye holes, or
It's you can't really tell because the pyroclastic cloud has completely covered the entire area in darkness. But Takash, given the double crit that you had, despite it being a strength saving throw, because it was an effect enhanced by your sense of the creature, I'm going to say that instinctively you were able to establish a kind of primitive telepathic link with it. Um, it's still unclear to you how you were able to achieve this, because it's not something that you've been able to do before in such an instinctive manner. Uh, but you do get a sense that the creature is not actively hostile so much as just it saw an interesting structure and felt like it was a good place to sit. You're muted.
It's not actively hostile. It's just hate incarnate. um, okay. It's not. We don't hear scratching at the thing or anything like that.
You don't, but it's hard to know if that's because it's not scratching or if the shield of faith is preventing you from noticing those oscillations and impacts.
Sure. That link, can I? Is it still active? Do I still get a sense from it?
Um,
Is it a primitive link because its mind is primitive?
it's a primitive link because it's incomplete.
Sure.
It's
Okay.
you're able to sense the creature, but you can't influence its thoughts or project thoughts into it.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by that it's primitive.
Okay. As long as I don't sense an immediate hatred, must destroy, whatever, then fine. Hopefully it'll go away.
I mean, it's certainly you're not feeling active hostility directed towards the Warforged Colossus.
Mhm.
But if you were to listen, you could detect an active hatred for a quadrupedal creature of size that rivals that of this creature.
Uh-huh. Okay. If I can't project thoughts, then I got nothing. This thing really hates a big other thing.
I do not have an illusion spell that could project an image of Wilfred at scale.
Yeah, to scale. Yeah. No, you just gotta like put it on the horizon. So just like manage to perspective it.
Force, yeah,
Yeah,
force
force,
perspective.
yeah, force perspective. Yeah.
You'll become well, yeah, Mysterio. I think that's the guy. That's the Marvel villain.
Little 20-foot tall image of Wilfred is actually really close to one of the creature's eyes. But he thinks it's on the horizon.
Actually, with that, let's take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
right.
What about your wives?
They'll get used
Less-
to it.
Yeah, nightmares
get
are
their
dreams
own.
too.
And buy their own place next door. Invite them over for sleepovers.
All right. So the creature is perched on top of you guys. Doesn't seem to be. At least you're not feeling anything that it might be doing, given the Shield of Faith spell that Takasha's cast.
Essentially a big bird, right? It's pooping. If it's a big bird, it's pooping on us.
Do we have any way to communicate with Ornifex on the outside?
Oh, he's back in.
Oh, I didn't know he came back in. Okay.
He moved his vehicle to try and maximize protection from this storm.
Oh, okay.
But-
I thought he was just like hanging out outside. Okay, never mind.
Mhm.
I like to think he had a little chair in that spot where he parked, where he moved the vehicle to, just
Yep.
to reserve it, just in
Yep.
case. So yeah, I definitely, with a creature now, I'm told being perched on top, I definitely would move down into the chest section. Just in case it, like, the head is ripped off.
Isn't that where Blade is?
Yeah, there's no saving him.
Yeah, that's his problem now.
I'm gonna stay in there with Blade.
I will occasionally crack the hatch a little bit to see if you guys are still there.
Are there like listen holes of some kind? Like,
What do you mean by listen holes?
I don't know. There's roughly humanoid shaped. Did they put anything that roughly operated like an ear onto the thing that others inside might be able to know what's going on outside?
No. You would
It is an
know
interesting
that-
question. Is this place airtight? Is it possible for us to suffocate in here?
It's a good question. But Brandon, one, you would know from reading the manual that one of the mechanisms of the Warforged Colossus is to provide fresh air, because it is meant to be operated both on land and in the ocean. Because they didn't know exactly how the Warforged Colossus would be used when it was in battle, and also transporting it over water, they didn't think they could, so they just tried to design it so that it would be submersible. Regarding being able to be aware of the outside, there's not much for the crew. Mostly the crew on a Warforged Colossus was meant to support the operations. Some of the weapon systems can be activated independently of the pilot, although being able to properly aim them requires a bit more, at least a pilot to kind of be somewhat available to position the weapon systems appropriately. Additionally, awareness of the outside is communicated through the pilot. The pilot is able to have some kind of connection to make announcements that are heard throughout the Warforged Colossus. The other way that a Warforged Colossus was used was to hold a battalion of soldiers that would then emerge from the Warforged Colossus once it reached a certain point, for whatever missions or purposes that it was meant to support. So
Is there another exit then? Like if you had a platoon full of soldiers, you wouldn't want them all crawling out the head and then having to be like lowered to the ground.
Right.
No,
Somewhere on the foot.
Just
so
wondering, could you ever see a Warforged Colossus just basically pooping out a platoon of soldiers?
Yeah, I think it has to squat down.
so in the area of the Warforged Colossus where there's that desk and all the books where the Zorn leader was,
Mhm.
those platforms allow for a mass teleportation to within a few hundred meters of the Warforged Colossus.
I see.
It is a one-way teleport, though. It's not able to teleport things back into it. So technically, you guys could escape, but you would escape into the pyroclastic cloud.
Well, as of now, it seems like we're not under immediate threat, and it seems just to be tired or interested in perching here. So wait it out.
That
Another
seems like our
consideration that Melodia you would be aware of, given that you're a ranger. But also now come to think of it, because you spent some time in the Warforged, you would remember that there were certain times when the Zorn that were inhabiting this thing and those other creatures, um, that they would kind of hunker down, and there would be these noises um, that you wouldn't know what's going on, but it would be different. And you're realizing now that um, this is what you were experiencing in those times. And also just
Okay.
being a ranger and having an understanding of animal nature, you would guess that because this structure has been dormant for so long, but it is also a unique structure, that it makes sense that a large creature might claim it as some sort of perch or place of interest without necessarily being hostile to that the to it.
From memory, in the previous times this happened, how long did it last for?
Hard to say because you were in that prison and didn't really have access to be able to see or hear directly outside. But it could go on for a day or two, you would guess.
Okay. But beside, at least from previous experiences, it essentially just perched. It never really attacked or mangled it. It just sort of perched on it then. Okay. So I tell everyone that, like, yeah, when I was imprisoned here, it just sort of, it almost nests in this place. It feels like this might, maybe not a home, but it treats it as maybe a layover or resting spot for itself. So it could be minutes, days. I don't really know, but it seems never to have caused much harm to the Colossus. So we're safe. I just don't know how long it's going to stay here. So if we can maybe find a way to encourage it to leave, that might be our best course of action. I just don't know how to do that. If any of you guys have an idea.
and we can't pilot this until Blade snaps out of whatever it is he's doing. On the other hand, we really can't afford to waste whole days waiting for this creature to leave.
Yes, yeah.
It's not like we're going anywhere without it anyways.
Right.
But
Until Blade's done and this machine is fully repaired.
it would be
How-
useful,
how-
perhaps.
How
to-
let me how about we have a rest? It is late in the day. This thing has been here before, and it's never caused me harm. I mean, I was imprisoned here, but it's never caused me harm before. you couldn't ask for a better guard than this thing. I mean, we can at least recover any missing spells and health. And maybe that'll allow us to find a solution we don't have access to right now.
Sound enough advice. We might as well rest. I can take first watch. I don't know what happens when the protection from energy wears off. If it will get uncomfortably hot in here, probably will.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did we get a sense from the kyber crystals taking over that it would do anything? That it would make it last longer, perhaps?
If it gets unbearably hot, I can recast it.
Maybe we'll be lucky and it lasts longer.
That would be nice too. I'm not going to recast it until I determine it's actually getting dangerously hot.
Indeed.
Melodia, you would recall that when this thing, now that you know what it is and you're recognizing, this compared to some of your experiences, you do know that it would get fairly hot to the point of being uncomfortable, but never to the point of any real danger.
So still like not as hot as like being exposed out in Fernia, but still just uncomfortably toasty.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I let everyone know that. I mean, I can't speak for the overcharged crystals, but with our friend outside, it's going to get a little toasty in here, but no more than we've been used to for the past. How long have we been doing this? Is this days or
Too
months
long.
or years? Yeah, for too long.
I'll still take
However long.
first watch.
I will take whatever watch everybody else doesn't want.
Okay.
Well, I can't take all of the watches that people don't.
Yeah. Oh
want.
yes, I'll take wherever. Pantone will take the next watch then.
Everyone's like, "Oh, great! Then we'll just sleep."
Yeah, I'll take whatever's needed.
All right. So, branded one, the watch goes fine. There's nothing that you immediately notice. You attempt to rouse Takash, and he stirs, and you assume that he's waking up, but he doesn't quite wake up. And as you fall asleep, so feeling more tired than you expected, hence your kind of lack of being as detailed to attention as you might be regarding Takashi's alertness as you try to awaken him. You all begin to experience the same dream where you
I don't dream.
do now. Um, wait, actually, maybe you don't. Can you post that ability?
Let me find it.
Okay, yeah, actually, no, this doesn't affect you. As the branded one goes to sleep, you awaken for your watch, but then once your watch is meant to end, you realize that you're unable to awaken any of your comrades. And the rest of you um, begin to share a dream. Now, Takash, using your ability to link with the minds of others, you could attempt to establish a link with one of your companions.
I mean, if they're not waking, whoever was next up in the watch order.
Give me an investigation check as you do so. Using charisma.
Okay. So it'd just be a charisma roll. Okay.
So you are, because of your immunity to magic that causes people to dream, you know that this is likely something to that effect. For the rest of you, and you are able to monitor the dream, since it is a joint dream that everybody is experiencing. And the image that forms in front of everybody else, you kind of see each other, and you're kind of floating above the plains of Fernia, moving in a direction that none of you can really tell clearly, as all that you see are the plains uh, moving below you as you're facing the ground, traveling through the air. Um, then you find yourself upright and in front of Flamekeep, which floats above the river Styx and has the shield of siege magic that you have left in place as you exited. Then your vision shifts as you are pulled closer to Flamekeep, specifically to a position where you notice a massive force of infernal creatures. At the head of this force is Haruman. And Haruman seems to wield what is looks like a onyx boulder the size of a basketball. And he holds it up, and he seems to be speaking something, though you're not able to see, or you're not able to hear or understand what he's saying due to the dream nature of this being a dream and some of the details kind of being lost. But what you see is what seem like spirits emerging from this stone, dozens of spirits emerging. Several of them look familiar to you. Specifically, you notice Paelius, Ewan, Dr. Sheev, Tem, and Alyssa. Only Solomon seems to be absent from those that you can recognize. And upon seeing Alyssa, Lux, you begin to recall a memory that you realize was previously repressed, or perhaps actually stolen from you. You remember in your travels in Fernia at some point, as you were going about whatever it is that you were going about at the time, a massive fish-like creature with numerous eyes and tentacles emerging from a portal in the ground. It catches the group off guard, and as it raises menacingly from the ground, Lux, you realize that the group is made up of you, Blade, Alyssa, Solomon, and Project Ezreal. Each of you seeing this rise to defend yourselves from the creature, but as you begin to raise your weapons and prepare to attack, you're overwhelmed by some mental assault that leaves all of you paralyzed. Only Alyssa seems capable of defending from the psychic attack, and she lunges at the creature with her massive sword, leaping into the air bringing it down into its slimy flesh, causing it to arch in pain and surprise. And Alyssa grins, but her victory is short-lived as this creature vomits a stream of mucus, completely covering Alyssa. You can vaguely see her look of horror from beneath the viscous goo as she struggles to breathe, and then you notice that her flesh begins to blister and blood begins to weep from wounds as her flesh and gear begin to sizzle and melt. The creature then wraps Alyssa in its tentacles, and in too much agony to offer much of a struggle, this thing lifts her into the air and down its maw of teeth as it swallows her whole, with the teeth angled in such a way to prevent anything from moving in any direction but further down its gullet. You all look frozen as this thing takes its time as it lazily gulps Alyssa down a few inches at a time until she's gone. You still remain frozen, though fighting futilely within your minds as from the mental prison that this thing has created. And then you hear in your heads a command for Project Ezreal to approach. And you watch helplessly as he takes staggering steps trying to resist, but eventually he steps past this creature and into the portal from which it came. This creature then turns its attention back to each of you and manipulates your memories. You're commanded to pay no attention to the loss of your comrade, to forget their presence, and to not even question or wonder where they have gone. To you, they simply disappear without any need for concern, and then the creature calmly retreats back into its portal. Now the scene shifts once more as the memory fades, and you return to the scene with Haruman and his infernal forces as he unleashes the souls contained within the stone, and they impact into the field protecting Flamekeep. The field shines brilliantly before sputtering and then finally dimming out of existence, at which point Haruman signals for the forces to lurch forward as one, and this dream begins to shift to various scenes of horror as the survivors of Flamekeep are beset by all of these fiendish creatures, ripping them apart mercilessly. Some offer resistance, particularly Alistair, who was the commander left in charge at the Citadel. He fights bravely and valiantly, but even he is eventually taken out personally by Haruman as he is smashed into his head and it bursts like a melon. After that, the scene shifts and you find yourself face to face with a hideous figure with a wide, unnatural grin. There's something familiar about this person, particularly for Lux, but even those unfamiliar with this person directly, it's still familiar. And this is the image that you see, the face that you see. Where's the sharing? Oh, there it is. So this is the face that you see. And while it is changed in ways that are shocking, each of you recognizes this figure from their fame as High Cardinal Crozen, second in the Church of the Silver Flame, uh, the only person of higher rank being that of Jayla Duran. And Lux, you recall the way that High Cardinal Crozen claimed to be a victim when in fact he had created this system of glyphs with the Valenters to wield as a source of pulling in the souls of those who died at in the city, where explosions rocked the entirety of it, causing devastation and pulling every killed soul within the limits into those stones, including, or would have been including, you and the others, except that your souls were shifted by the dragon known as the what is it, the seer, the chronicle, that's right, who
Yeah, I know
offered
that
you
guy.
the chance to fight against Crozin and his forces. And so now before you sits Crozin, and the dream, the sense of the dream that freezes you from responding begins to loosen, and you hear him cackling.
I have finally found you. Oh, I am going to take such sweet, sweet joy in watching you fail as you attempt to save Jayla Duran and prevent the rise of Belshalor. Your fall is inevitable.
It reminds me of David Lopane's Big Trouble in Little China.
Excellent. I'm very happy with that comparison.
What? No response? I would have expected more from the likes of you, the supposed chosen ones of the Silver Flame.
So wait, am I Solomon now, or am I the
No,
branded
you're
one?
you're the branded one.
Okay.
You just those of you that knew Solomon, which only really includes Lux and Blade, recognized that Solomon was missing from them. But also in the way of dreams, that you sometimes understand a history or a past that is not your own, you have a vague sense of knowing the faces that Lux recognizes, and having a sense of even the memory that Lux finds had been dormant or removed.
Um, can I gather any of this while attempting to? I imagine maybe I can get emotions at best, but
You're able to see all of these details. The magic that is creating this nightmare uh, is, it seems to have anticipated your presence and shifted the magic such that you can clearly see the details as they appear before the mind with whom you are linked.
um, well, I mean, if that's the case, then I likely would have imagined myself uh, um, whenever this person, as soon as he started laughing, I'm like, that's a bad guy, and I would imagine just like slicing him. And if they could be projected into the dream, then great.
Give me
Just hope,
a charisma check.
Sure.
just hope
Just charisma.
you're not slicing in real life too. Come back and you've killed one of us.
Right.
Okay. You find that even though you're typically immune from the magic that would cause you to dream, this isn't quite the same as a dream. It's not actually taking place on Delphor, where all dreams typically happen, even those uh, enhanced by the magic of the nightmare spell. But you're you're able to participate, and you find yourself drawn in, and your will, you which you have shaped over time to be a weapon as sharp as the sword that you wield. You bring yourself into the dream and you attempt to attack, lunging at this creature and slicing into him. But as you do, the weapon in your hand shatters, and a force knocks you back in line with the others.
That was a futile effort. But now you are here as well, Takash. I was hoping you would do something like this to force yourself into this nightmare that I have created for your friends. And now, in doing so, you are trapped within its magic.
A nightmare. I've never heard of them.
You will soon come to know what it is.
I doubt it.
Well, one aspect of your mission, or at least maybe not your mission, but the consequences of your choices has led to the total destruction of Flame Keep. Every single soul within has been killed mercilessly, and their essence added to the collection. Strength, that which will bring Belshazzar from his prison.
Tell us other news. It's been so long since we've been that direction. Tell us more.
How about I show you?
Suddenly, the scene shifts to more of the devastation being brought, or that has been wrought upon Flamekeep. This being a nightmare, you never quite know what's real or what time is like as it passes. But for you, it feels completely real. You watch as people are mowed down in the streets. You see people ripped limb from limb, every horrible way that you can imagine, every undulating tentacle that you can imagine, completely rending those before them. And then the scene shifts once more to Crozen being before you.
Impressive carnage. I don't think it will stop us from defeating Belshazzar, but impressive nonetheless.
Perhaps not. But I have achieved a much better thing. You see, I have been able to pick hairs from each of you, stolen from Mad Maggie. She
Who's that?
saved them for such purposes.
I'm realizing most of you weren't near Mad Maggie, so he's also
Yeah.
found other ways to procure your hairs. Dream logic.
Right.
It all makes perfect sense to you.
Not my dream hair.
Oh, I fucked up.
I dream in the balls. What do you mean? Mad Maggie? Never heard of her.
And so I will make sure that you not one single one of you has a restful night of sleep. You will come to try and stop me. Bone weary, exhausted, pushed beyond your limits. And only days away from the eclipse.
You know, I'm glad you feel so confident. It just makes your fall all the better.
And as he says that, Lux looks at him and says, "You can't kill what's already dead." And I raise my hand, and my hand has the hand of Vecna on it. And I point at him and give him the finger of death, which is this.
See, Lux dreams with a Vecna hand.
Make me a charisma check.
Not a save, just a check.
Yeah.
Okay. I have no idea.
So you actually do feel as if the magic of Vecna is coursing through you, changing you, but also having some material impact on Crozen as he staggers back surprised. But he rises once more, any damage that was done by it seeming to heal.
That was actually impressive, Lux. How did you do that?
What, you don't know?
He just kind of leers at you, his lip kind of shaking as in anger.
How do you know we weren't sent by Bel Shalor to make sure he comes to rise to power and just to take your dumb ass out?
Because I am his champion. There are none greater than me in the service of Bel Shalor.
You know, he needs higher standards.
It is good that you remain so resilient in the face of utter defeat.
Lux is the one who defeated Archon the Cruel and claimed the hand of Vecna for herself.
Well, that helps Bel Shalor in the end, as it ensures Tiamat lacks what she needs to rise herself.
But it also means Lux can easily replace you as Bel Shalor's great champion.
You still don't understand how all this works, do you? The prisons that keep the overlords from rising, each one unique in its method to be unlocked, also states that only one overlord can rise. If any open their gates, it ensures forever the sealing away of all others. And so, by keeping Tiamat from being able to rise, you only help the rising Bel Shalor. Perhaps you are servants of Bel Shalor after all. Perhaps the Silver Flame was wrong to choose the likes of you to be its champions.
Does my divine sense work? I would attempt to use it.
Okay. He detects as very, very devilish.
Okay. Um,
See where this is going. We're going to raise the Warforged Colossus release Tiamat and ride in on it and kick his ass.
I'm gonna abjure extraplanar. It's a use of my channel divinity or channel oath or whatever it is. Yeah, they call it channel divinity.
So while you're able to use your senses and you've been pulled in here through a mind link, you find that when you try to actually bring to bear any of your abilities, it's very much like in a dream where you're attempting to run or punch and it's like you're swimming in molasses. Your body isn't responding, your mind isn't responding quite as you would expect. And for you, this is particularly jarring because you've not dreamed before. This is not something that you're familiar with, and so it's all the more surprising.
A new plan, animal handling check on the dragon on top of us so that the Warforged Colossus can ride it into battle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get on that. I'll get Pantone to talk to him.
Yeah, how many action points you got?
3, I can do it.
Well, in that case, I will attempt to can I attempt to resever myself from the dream?
Yes. You can make a charisma check at disadvantage.
Just a check.
Yes.
Okay.
So that actually is enough to sever yourself from the dream. So you've been able to force your way into this nightmare, and through similar means and force of will, you're able to eject yourself from it, shedding the magic of the nightmare and making sure that you're no longer impacted by it, and any trace of it is left in the mind of the person that you had linked with. You return to your body fully aware of what you've experienced from the outside.
I will do another divine sense just to see if there's anything that lingers on them at all.
Can you post divine sense?
Yeah.
You don't sense anything.
Sure, that's fine. I don't know if they're still in the dream or not, so I don't know if the dreams move at an increased pace because it's a dream. Inception, are they dreaming within a dream? Is it going even time dilation even crazier?
Yeah. That's what we need. I need to cast Nightmare on him inside the nightmare.
Yep, that's right. You muted. Are you muted or do I have no sound?
I don't
Can
hear
you
him.
hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear Hawk if he's talking.
Shit.
Now we can hear you.
I can tell he was really animated. He was really into
Yeah.
it.
I was. Let's see if I can reclaim it.
I was real sad. I was like, dang it, he's into it, man. We're missing it.
So Crozin turns to the rest of you with Takashi having forced his way out of the nightmare, and he says,
Pity. I was looking forward to tormenting that creature. Well, what of the rest of you? What have you had to say for yourselves?
I mean, so far, all you've said is you've killed all of these pitiful pawns who are in Flamekeep. I don't know if I'm supposed to feel overwhelmed by that, but you haven't actually delayed us in coming after you. We're just waiting for a storm to pass, and then we will come for you.
Oh, don't you see? That's exactly what I want. I want you to come to me. I need you to come to me. It is required for the rising of Belshalor that the champions named by the prophecy fight to keep him to stay in his prison. It is only through that effort that he can rise and claim himself the champion to win his freedom. It cannot be given, it must be taken. And so, I welcome you to come. Or stay. Stay away. Let us complete the ritual after the eclipse is past. The time frame which we must await the battle will have passed, and Belshazzar will rise anyways, allowed to take his reigns as the true overlord of Eberron, all of creation.
The darkness within the flame is never going to overtake the flame itself. You serve a master who's doomed to fail. You just don't see it. You're too foolish. You serve the flame, and you turned your back on it because you're so stupid that you don't understand where the real power lies.
The flame turned its back on me long ago. I was the champion. I was the most devout. I did everything for the flame. And what does it do in return? It
Replaced you
allows
with a child.
Jayla, a child, a, a child to wield the power of the flame. It was my right. And since the flames forsake me, I have chosen something that honors the efforts of my loyalty, my piety.
Flame saw how weak you were, is what happened. And so it rubbed your nose in your weakness by replacing you with a child.
It doesn't matter. Your words are worthless. It's your actions I care about. And currently, you are losing this battle. Belshalor will rise. We will see how he treats what is left of your bodies and souls.
I was thinking the same about you. You think he rewards you for your piety, for your loyalty, but we'll see what happens when he actually rises, if he actually rises. Either way, I think you're doomed because there's no way that any true power in this world is ever going to see any value in you. He'll cast you aside just as the flame did.
Oh. The naivete, the champions of light.
The misplaced confidence of a fool. I hope if Belshalor does win, I hope at the very least he has enough of a sense of humor to replace you with another child.
Well, we'll see. And until then, I am the power over you, and I will ensure that no rest is given for you or your companions. So keep your barbs. Believe the words that you spout. Doesn't matter. You will not receive one night of rest while I will it, and you will come into this battle weakened, weary, and ready to fall upon the magic and might of my forces.
And with that, he fades into the shadows, and for the next 6 hours or so, you are all beset by terrible nightmares, images that are hard to describe. Um, and then eventually you awaken.
Can I do this? Hold on. Because I might be able to do something. I gotta find the ability. Oh, dang it. No. Or I guess I can use an action point. Can I use an action point? Since I don't have any third level spell slots right now, can I just use an action point to cast a third level spell?
Yeah.
I will cast Dispel Magic on probably. I would imagine that the branded one has the best chance at having other countermeasures to whatever's going on. Cast Dispel Magic upon the branded one to try and remove the effect of that spell.
Okay.
I gotta make a check, right? I don't know what level that's being
Yeah.
cast at, so
Hold on. Let me. Yeah.
We,
Give me a caster level check.
I'll just use the other fucking action points.
Okay.
Cause that was horrendous. Ugh.
So you're unable to dispel the magic, but you do learn from your attempts that while you know this is particularly potent magic, you're not really sure what High Cardinal Crozon has done to be able to achieve this. It is resistant somewhat to effects that dispel it, but you also get information that it somewhat functions more like a curse, and there there is a way of potentially breaking the curse that doesn't require uh, any kind of dispelling effect, and that might actually be a more useful way of addressing this, whatever it is.
Remove the curse, remove the effect.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to do that if he's got the hair.
Um, so each of you that were asleep, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Get +4.
I'm gonna use an action point on that one.
yeah, I'll use my last action point. So 19 with the +4.
The same. And do you want Pantone to roll or no?
No. So Lux, you're the only one that is affected by the nightmare. So when you wake up, you don't get any benefit from the long rest, and then you also take some damage. 11 psychic damage.
Okay. And when I wake up, I looked at my left hand. Do I have the hand of Vecna on?
You know, if in the dream you had willed yourself to do that, Takash would have seen you move, and it would have been quicker than he could have reacted to some, even though it wasn't necessarily on your person, it would have appeared next to you, and you would have been able to, in your sleep, rip your hand off and place the hand on your stump, because the hand has a consciousness of sorts and is drawn to you as its wielder, and it will it has facilitated taking its place on your arm. So if that is what you want, the magic of the hand of Vecna will support you in doing so.
Well, of course it will.
So what you're saying is, if I want it to be on there, it's on there or not?
If you want it to be on there, it's on there.
Hell yeah.
I can't wait for Lux to become the villain of the next campaign. That's what this is. It's not a hero's journey, it's a villain's origin story.
Our next campaign could be to go find and retrieve her soul.
So each of you wake up. Takashi, you're aware of the dream up until the point that you removed yourself from it. Each of you seems to have been able to achieve some modicum of rest, although you are waking up fairly weary and fatigued. It is not mechanically different than not getting any kind of rest. But Lux, you have been most affected by the magic of the nightmare spell.
Okay.
I
So
look at Lux's arm and say, well, this is new.
Yeah, there's no way I could have stopped it. I was like in the dream at that point, so
That is true.
yeah.
I'm wondering if we should collect the soon to be artifact level arm of Lux that is now laying there.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe Pantone ate it.
Dude is just running around with like a hand dangling from
Are you able to telepathically communicate with Pantone? Is it saying fetch? Fetch?
I don't know if I
Fetch?
can. No, yeah, I can talk to him. I don't think I can telepathically talk to him.
No, but this is how it acts whenever it wants to fetch, though, right? So
I think we tried that once and it went wrong. So I just want to make sure I get this right. So we're basically not able to rest, correct?
No, you're able to rest. Lux was
Lux.
not though, because
Oh, okay,
each of you
okay.
saved.
Okay. So it's save based. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do have a potion of excellence for
As
when
do I.
it's needed.
Yeah.
what is it? Coca-Cola? Is that what he gave us?
Pepsi.
It was the Pepsi's. Okay, yeah. What is this Pepsi? 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 I don't know.
So do I technically have a level of exhaustion?
Um, you don't right now. Next time you miss a long rest, I think you
Okay.
do. Um,
All right, so I wouldn't get back the Kai points and I wouldn't get back any hit dice I used, but my hit points I would get back in 2 turns.
wait, say that again?
Because I didn't get the long rest, I don't get my Kai points don't recharge. And I don't get any hit dice that I used. But the hit points that I lost, I will get back in 2 turns. Because I regen.
Now, yeah, with the Hand of Vecna, you regenerate, yeah.
Correct.
Oh yeah, so I guess I can hit the long rest button, yeah.
When in my head, when Lux decided in the dream to have the Hand of Vecna, it was kind of like it reminded me of Dresden Files with those coins of uh I don't remember what the of the devils that you can call to yourself after you've touched them.
I'm blanking on it now too.
Nicodemus was their leader of those devils that were trapped in the coins, the 30 silver pieces. So you all awaken, having experienced what you experienced. As you do, you notice that the pyroclastic cloud is no longer covering the Colossus. You can see the storm kind of fading in the distance if you do look through any of the viewports.
Um, well, shall we attempt to sort out this little nightmare problem?
Yeah, how is Blade looking?
Was Blade in the dream?
Yeah.
Was he still frozen in the dream?
He's T-posed.
Yeah.
He was frozen in the dream, and he still appears to be in a sort of just as you left him.
Yeah, Frozen had plucked a washer from him, and that's why.
I mean, right now my character would mostly be like quietly studying Lux to see if anything's different other than the arm. Just because what do I know? Maybe she is now possessed and way more evil. Or slightly more evil, who knows? But I would guess I would check on Blade as well, just to see if there's any change. There being no change, though, I probably would just hunker down some more, since we're
Yeah.
mostly just waiting for the whole process to work its way through.
I'm gonna head back up on the top and keep a lookout.
So, Lux, do you feel any different?
Don't feel tardy. Uh, Not really. Sort of like this was always supposed to be this way.
Perhaps it makes sense that you would use weapon of evil to defeat evil.
Is it?
To sacrifice your soul to do it is an interesting choice. I like to
I
think we
would-
ruined some of Cardinal Crozen's fun.
Does
Yes.
the thing that Lux would have had on her forehead, is it still there?
But that was gone when we met with the
Oh, that's right.
Coatl.
It was removed. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Although I'd forgotten about that too. That would have been another good one to point out to Crozen.
That one I did think of and consider. I was trying to tie things together and I kind of fell apart in the end because it all came like I thought of it all today.
No, you did fine. Fine.
Why would Frozen mention the lack of, the mark? He doesn't want to acknowledge it. That wasn't his failure.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Was it me?
Um,
So within a few minutes, you feel the Warforged Colossus begin to shift, and you feel it rumbling. You hear gears whining and straining.
uh, look to Blade.
If you're in the head, you notice Blade is now conscious.
So
Well, I wouldn't
this is
immediately go for
this is an interesting moment because I'm gonna have to go because I have to get up in like 5 hours. But it actually does make sense maybe to end it here, unless you have something more you want to cover, Mike.
No, actually, that's perfect because I also need to wake up early tomorrow. I have to speak to a lawyer, which is always fun. Uh, so yeah.
Work-related stuff.
Yeah, I've never had a client that requested records. They're like because they're wanting their records and billing, and I'm assuming that it's I have a pretty good sense that it's for a workers' comp issue. So I'm just talking to a lawyer that's familiar with Illinois mental health law about exactly what I need to provide them and all that
Right.
stuff.
Hit the shit.
Yeah. And then also I found out today that my malpractice insurance wasn't sufficient because it covered me as a professional, but it didn't cover me as a business entity. So I'm very lucky I did not get sued before today.
Yikes.
I'm very interested to see how this goes forward with Lux now having the arm.
Yeah, that was not something I saw coming, but that was pretty cool.
What? Come on now.
I did everything I
I
could.
mean,
I was trying to telegraph it.
We're fighting it left and right.
yeah, I mean, I did sort of like story wise, narrative wise, it makes sense that Lux would eventually put it on, but I was sort of imagining she might wait till like the final battle. But this is, we're close enough to it. This is good too.
Mhm.
It's
Although-
just gonna be Lux standing on the top of the thing as it walks, just holding out the middle finger the whole time.
And in
What?
doing so, just rising and like armies of undead corpses in the wake of the Colossus.
It was just like dun 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 dun. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
All right, thanks for running, Mike.
Yep.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Yep.
Bye.
See you guys later.